I don't want to devalue the regular season. I do think there's a lot of value in the regular season. That was Georgia coach Kirby Smart talking about what it could look like in the near future with championship weekend, what will be championship weekend. I'll lay that out in a second. Stand by on that. But when you think about the time that Kirby played college football from 1994, he redshirted. So 94, 95 to 98 were his 3 seasons at Georgia, and you had some huge regular season games in there. Virtually any game with Tennessee, several of the games with Florida, a huge, massive comeback in 1997 against Georgia Tech, and then him losing his final game of his career to the Jackets. There were a lot of meaningful, big games. 1996 against Auburn. Those games all mattered a lot because at the time you didn't have a way for the Pac-10 and the Big Ten to play for national championships along with everyone else because they were playing in the Rose Bowl. And so the regular season did really mean more. Now you fast forward to a time we've gone to a 14 playoff. We've gone through the BCS. We've gone through a 14 playoff. Now we're at a 12 and very well could be at a 16-team playoff soon. But what he's talking about is what happens when the SEC says to themselves, we're going to take the top 6 teams in the Southeastern Conference and we're going to put them all playing a triple header on ABC where the championship game will be at night at 8 p.m. The number 3 team in the league plays the number 6 team at 12, and the 4 and the 5 play one another at 3:30. Will that take away from the conference championship? Will that take away from the regular season? He says this. I don't think a team take Texas last year. He says they're the 1 seed going to the SEC championship. There are some scenarios out there where I'm like, okay, they've got a play-in game. I don't know if I agree with that. I think, and he goes on to say they can play a championship game or they can play a game, but there should be some value to a regular season in terms of what you perform and what you don't. And I would argue that in that scenario, Texas was going to get into the college football playoff anyway because they'd have been the 1 seed or the 2 seed, and they'd be playing for the SEC championship. They'd be automatically in. Whether they're automatically in or not, it would be basically in. We're talking about the SEC here. This isn't the Sun Belt. So I think in the grand scheme of things, the value of a win in the regular season is not what it used to be. There's reasons for that. The regular season is not as important as it was, 10 years ago. I mean, I'm trying to think, I think Clemson lost to NC State in basketball, not NC State, it was Pittsburgh, and when basketball season started and went on to win the national championship. Arkansas defeated LSU in 2007. LSU, that was on Black Friday. LSU went on to win the national championship. There's been the Gators in 1996. There's been twice that Florida has won the national championship where they backed into the national championship. They got blown out. No, they didn't get blown out. They blew Florida State out after losing to Florida State in a massive game to end the 96 season. The regular season, has not mattered as much as it seems like for a long time. And Kirby, that 2011 Alabama team that went on to beat LSU 21-0 or whatever it was in the Sugar Bowl, had that been by the regular rules, Alabama wouldn't have played for the national championship. There'd have been no reason to set them back up. But that particular game and result of that season gave us the college football playoff 4 team, which eventually gave us a 12. I think the most preferred layout is the 4 team. I think you could make the case for a 6 or an 8. I'm a psychopath. I'll be watching any college football game. I'm watching a repeat right now of Florida LSU, a 4-5 Florida team playing LSU. They beat them in this game. This game's going to half right now, and LSU just kicked a field goal to tie it up. I'm like that. I'll just watch whatever college football that's on. But I do think that we have to watch watering down the playoff too. Unfortunately, I think we have blown right past that. for Kirby to say, I don't want to devalue the regular season, I understand that. I do. I want to, Auburn, Georgia has taken a real tumble lately because of the devaluing of the regular season, and I think it's too bad. Speaking of great value, buy 1 month of Dawg Post. You're going to get this magazine and 2 months of Dawg Post for free. I'm going to put the link down below. This is a great offer that we've got for a limited time. Take advantage right now. It'll get you through the beginning of the season. It'll get you through the Marshall game. So you buy right now, and you're going to get July and August and a little bit of September for free with the 2025 preview that you can find on our website as well. But you're going to get all of those things for the price of 1 month subscription to Dawg Post. That's a $60 value for $15. Take advantage right now. He's saying, hey, look, Texas won the regular season. I mean, that's really what it was. They won the regular season. Shouldn't they just go on and go straight into the playoff? I think there's merit to that conversation. But I think that at the same time, too, we have devalued the regular season of college football because of the playoff. And it's not taken away from Georgia, Florida yet. It's not taken away from Tech, Georgia. I do think it's hurt Auburn, Georgia. I think it hurt the SEC championship last year for sure. At the beginning of the game, it was like, that was an out-of-body experience. I have covered the SEC championship game for more than 2 decades, and I know what the feeling is like. When Georgia played Arkansas in 2002, that was like a coronation. 2003 was a sort of, or is LSU going to get into the national championship or not situation. 2005, that Georgia upsets LSU. That was a huge moment. That was the biggest game Georgia could win at that point, and they won it because they couldn't get into a playoff. It didn't exist. You think about 2012 and just the chaos surrounding that game. 17 with Auburn, that was win or go home. 18, that was the case for Georgia. 23, that was the case for Georgia. And in 21 and 22, those games were a big deal as well. We knew Georgia would go on to play in the college football playoff. But in 24, there was something missing. That game, Texas-Georgia, you look back at a 4-team playoff coming into this season, Ohio State wouldn't have made it. I think Texas would have made it. I have to go back and, think. Notre Dame would have been in, so that probably would have knocked out Texas. Obviously, Clemson would not have gotten in. The Big 12 champion would not have gotten in, Arizona State. So, it may have been Georgia as the SEC champion, Oregon as the Big 10 champion, Notre Dame and Texas as the 4 seed or something like that. Oregon would have been the 1, and you would have had Georgia, Notre Dame in a semifinal, and then you would have had Oregon and Texas in a semifinal. But it didn't feel like that. The question was who was going to the Sugar Bowl and who was hosting a game. And it turned out, we know now. But as time went on, that game, it took about a quarter, I think, for the crowd, because Texas had never been there before. They didn't understand the importance of the Southeastern Conference Championship game. I think they will over time, but there's never going to be anything like 2012 Georgia-Bama, 2002 Georgia-Arkansas, 2009 Bama-Florida, 2008 Bama-Florida, 2018 Georgia-Bama, 2023 Georgia-Bama. Those games that were, hey, you need to win this game or it's not happening, that's going to be hard to replace. And it's hard. It just says, 2012 Georgia-Bama, 2023 Georgia-Bama, to be honest, felt bigger than the Sugar Bowl this past year. It just did. The Sugar Bowl, I understand there were some things in that Sugar Bowl that were, you're talking about terrorist attack. You're talking about delaying the game. 2 teams that don't really play each other very much. A Sugar Bowl during the day, that's strange. So there was a lot of weird in that game, but but I understand Kirby's overall, this statement. I don't want to devalue the regular season. I do think there's a lot of value in the regular season. I acknowledge that. I would like those things to be true too. Particularly, I don't want to devalue the regular season, but we're past that point. I guess what he's trying to say is I want to protect it more as we go into the future. I don't want Georgia, Alabama to not mean anything at all. I can tell you, if you were at Bryant Denny, it meant a lot to everybody there. The smell in the crowd. That was a live crowd that night. And when Alabama comes to Georgia this September, it will be a smoking hot crowd. It will be loud. It will be the whole thing, just like Tennessee had to experience in Athens in 21 and in 22 and 24. It was a very difficult place to play. But you don't want to devalue Georgia, Auburn, and Tech, and Jacksonville. But we may have crossed that already. I don't know. We may have. I don't know. We'll see. Tell me what you think down below. Thanks for watching.